right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to my YouTube channel to watch this video. So today for my guest, I have Kim Smith. And just to share something before we begin. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, or if you're new to my channel, one thing that you're going to start seeing more of is guests coming on, sharing their story, or just something they've learned throughout life. And so that's going to be something that you can certainly look forward to. I believe that we have all faced something in our lives, and that something that we have faced, when we share it with others who are in that exact situation or a situation that's similar, it certainly is a blessing to them and can let them know that they can do it and overcome that as well. So, just wanted to kind of give that. So, again, my guest today is Kim. And so I have known Kim for a long time. We first met in Head Start, and then
Mhm.
we split and went to different elementary schools, and then came back together middle and high school. And so we've stayed connected throughout the years, primarily on social media and then through class stuff when we would get together. So Kim has a really great testimony that she's going to share with us today. But before we get into that, Kim, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us kind of who you are, life, kids, all of that?
Good evening. My name's Kim Smith. I am married to Louis Smith, and I have three kids: Requaria, Traquavis, and Kimora. And I actually own a cleaning business, which is called Desirable Cleaning. Requaria is attending SCAD University in Savannah, and Traquavis is a senior this year, and Kimora is a freshman this year.
Okay. So when we talk about kind of things that we've gone through, Kim was a teen mom, and she has raised and is raising her children really well. And so, Kim, kind of talk about the challenges that you faced as a teen and a young mom, because you had Requaria, um, I think our 10th grade, and then you had
Mhm.
Quay, maybe 11th or 12th or something like that. And then you were 20 when you had Kimora. So you had all of your kids when you were teen, young adulthood. So kind of talk about like some of the challenges that you faced as a teen mom.
Okay. Yes, I had Requaria my 10th grade year, and I had Traquavis my 11th grade year. Basically, I was juggling high school, raising two kids. My goal was to finish high school and get a diploma. That was my main goal because my mom, I think she dropped out in like the 7th or 8th grade. Um, my support system was amazing through high school, so that was one of the things that actually helped me get through. Because if I didn't have anyone to keep my kids, I wouldn't be able to attend school. But the challenges were getting up early in the morning after actually being up most of the night with kids, having to do homework, working, just basically like the things that we do now as adults with as a parent is basically what I did most of my high school years with two kids. So what you're doing now, think about what all you was doing in high school plus two kids. That is a lot. But I made it work. So
Yeah. And so kind of talk about your support system and how that really played a part in you being able to continue on and to be able to graduate.
basically I needed someone to actually watch them while I was in school and when I went to work. So most of the time, Traquave's dad kept him overnight, some nights. And Betty Joe was a big help with Requaria. Her and Requaria's aunt as well quit. She would actually take her to and from the doctors and stuff like that. Like if I had to, go to school or wasn't able to just make it. So they actually stepped in and helped out. So I really didn't have to not go to school because I had a doctor's appointment or something like that. I had people to actually step in and actually help me so I wouldn't miss, days and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a blessing. So what were, some of the lessons that you learned as a young mom, and kind of how that caused you to have to really grow up?
Be patient and be supportive, because even though I had that support system as far as helping see about my kids and make sure I was in school, I really didn't have, like, as far as like when I graduated, my mom did not attend my high school graduation. So like in different areas I had support, and then like in other areas I didn't have support. So it seemed as if people thought I was going to fail or were hoping I would fail, but it seems like every, I guess, trial, God ended up working it out. Like I received a blessing in the end. But it just seems like throughout my life, like it's like people that should care, or I feel that should be there, they're not. I don't know why, but to this day I probably would never know why. But it doesn't stop me from continuing to do what I'm doing. So
Yeah. And so your children have I think done really well. And even in school, I mean, like I remember that you were pretty, motivated and driven. Like you wanted to always make sure like you knew how to do the work and all that stuff. And um, or like you understood like what the teacher was teaching. But with your children, Requaria graduated at the top of her class. She is in college right now. Quay is in the top of his class, and he has his plans already. So with your children, typically when the parent is a teen mom, statistics say that it is highly likely that that will happen to those children as well. But your children are not a part of that statistic. So talk about how you have kind of raised your kids and how you've been transparent with them, so that they don't make some of the same mistakes that you made.
basically, well, what I always tell people is parenting doesn't come with a handbook. So what I did most of the time was I looked at the pros and cons of my childhood, and basically most of the cons is what I didn't want to happen with them. So I made sure that I stayed on top of them with school. I told them that is their most important thing to do. Your job is to go to school and get an education. My job is to make sure you eat every day, you have clothes on your back, roof over your head, all the necessities that you need. So take the time to do your work. And I set a schedule for them, basically like they would go to sleep every night at 8 o'clock, you know, well, not go to sleep, but get ready for bed, like take a shower and do all that stuff, and then be in bed at least by 8:39. So we had like a set schedule. Like when they got out of school, usually they would get out like at 4 o'clock. So as soon as they got home, they did their work, because I felt like if you let them linger around, they'll be and forgot what they learned for the day. So then you're gonna have to try to, figure out how you can help them or whatever. So majority of the time they knew as soon as they get home, do their work. And after that, we eat and sit down as a family. And like I tell people, that's like the time that the juice gets spilled, because a lot of people be like, well, my kids don't talk to me and all that. And I'm like, do y'all sit down as a family and actually, eat together? I like, that's when we actually end up talking about like the different stuff that actually goes on. And that's when they normally ask me questions and stuff like that. I've always been blunt with them. So I've never sugarcoat. Let's see this man go. Sorry, Louis beeping in. But I never sugarcoated anything with them. So I always been upfront and honest with them, even about pregnancy, unprotected sex, just the normal aspects of life. Because a lot of people are afraid to actually explain or even, talk to their kids about it. But I've been talking to mine since they've been like 7 or 8. And of course, if you ask them to this day, they'll be like, I don't want to hear it, but at the same time, I think they're listening because they're doing amazing. But it's a lot of hard work. Requaria is a hard worker, but she actually had to study to get where she is. And then what I tell people, like, All three of them are very different. Aquaria have to study to get the grades she get. Quay, he can sit down for 10, 15 minutes, do what he need to do, and out the door. And I don't even know like where he gets that from. He's just very smart. But of course, he's a young Black male, so he's not gonna actually show you or tell you like he's smart. Like you won't know it unless you actually see it on paper or something like that. He's very humble. He's not gonna too quick, let you know, hey, I'm a straight A student or whatever. Kimora is very Kimora. She's more like me. She's very open, but she's very smart as well. Like I always tell her, if you were to put more positive than negative, you'll be good to go. It seems like she's taking a little bit of my knowledge, I guess, and actually putting it to use and doing positive things. So she's actually doing better in school because she usually would slack off and then I have to get on her, but she's doing good. But like I just tell people all the time, don't give up and don't slack off, like stay on them, because even though you feel that they ain't listening, they listening, because if you ease up, then they're gonna make them drop. So that's what I tell people. I stay on them no matter what, even though they be like, Mama, you're doing too much. I'm gonna continue to do too much because it seems like me doing too much is working. So I'm gonna keep going with it.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, like, even with Jordan, like, sometimes I'll, like, me and Lindra will say something, and we'll think, like, he not listening, like, this boy don't get it. And then, like, he'll do something, and we'll be like, he was listening.
Yeah.
But I think, to your point, you're talking about just being very open with them. Like, now that Jordan is getting older, I find myself having, like, different conversations with him. So, like, even when it comes to, like, me and his dad and, like, that whole age difference and all that, like, I always talk to him about it and be like, just honestly, like, Jordan, like, that is not okay. Like, don't you ever do that. Like, don't let no older woman come at you like that, like, while you are a child, right? Like, you just,
Yeah.
because, like, I just don't want that to, be his story with it. Like, when you get grown, like, that's fine, live your life. But, like, I was in high school. My baby daddy older than, you know what I'm saying? So, like, we ain't have no business. So, like, I just be telling Jordan, like, be mindful. Like, don't think that, like, that is, like, that's okay. But I said in a way, like, not to try and, like, bash his dad or anything like that. It's just me sharing with him, like, what I had to go through, right? And, like, some of the mistakes that came from that. So making sure that, like, it's appropriate for him to hear. But I also think as he's getting older, he knows, right? Like, he knows that there's this gap and, like, all these things. So I just try to make sure that I do have really good conversations about stuff with him so that he knows, because now these kids can hop on Google or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And just type something in. But I would rather him hear it, from someone that truly has his best interest at heart, and not just some random person, like on the internet or whatever, that will say whatever.
Anything. Yeah, they'll Google some stuff and be like, well, I read on Google, and I'm like, no.
Right.
I said some information accurate, but some of this stuff, they'll have y'all thinking you down, and you just got a stomach bug. So please don't tell me now that the internet done said, because they'll Google something quick.
Right. And so, Kim, talk a little bit about kind of what you would say to either your, and I didn't tell you about this question, I just thought about it, to your younger self or to a young teen mom, to kind of give them some advice and to encourage them.
Basically, don't give up, like set goals, even if you fail. Of course, we all have failed at something, but even if it doesn't go right the first time, keep trying, because at the end of the day, if it's meant for you, it will come to you. So that's what I tell people, because like my cleaning business, I've been cleaning for like 15 years, but I've did it part-time. I never took the initiative and actually did it full-time until 2 years ago. So basically I will, work at the gas station, and basically after I get off, I would clean or either clean a house before I actually went in. So it was kind of a, juggle. So I do like, I'm gonna pray on it. I'm gonna set my little goals and see what all I need to do and get everything in order. And I'm gonna just step out on faith. My husband was with me, so he was like, "Hey, I think you will do better," So he was like, "I'm with you." So that's all I needed with that support. And my kids, like, they were like, after I quit, they were like, "We so glad you quit because you so much better." Because usually I would be like worn out, tired, or whatever, and just the days that I didn't want to be bothered, they knew. You get what I'm saying? But I hated that I felt, that way. But at the same time, like, I was just tired. So me having to, able to set my own schedule and, take the time and do, extra stuff with them or for them, I'm all for it. So that's what I tell people. At the end of the day, you got to think about your kids. I know we all have to work and sacrifice, but at the same time, like, I don't want them to feel like she choosing work over me. You get what I'm saying? So I was like, I know I need to work to provide, but at the same time, I need to take time and chill and be able to spend more time with them. Like, I've always spent time with them, but not as much as I want to. So
yeah. And the other week we talked, you shared something about breaking generational curses. Do you remember?
Yes, like, well, my mama, she had 5 girls, but she had all of us basically at a young age. I think, she actually had my oldest sister when she was 15. And my mama actually had me when she was 20. So she had her 4th child at 20. So basically, like, I've always talked to my kids about, teen pregnancy and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's not okay. But if push come to shoves and it happens, I would rather for you to be, honest with me and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this, or I've done this," and stuff like that. I'm like, don't be afraid. But if you feel that you can't talk to me, talk to somebody. So most of the time, I got one that don't mind coming to me, telling me, Quay is very upfront. Quay, he'll say a little stuff to me, or like if he got issues, he may say something or hint around or text me and say mom. So if he texts me and say mom, I know he needs something. But other than that, he talked to my husband or either his aunt. And Kamora, she don't mind who she tell, how she feel about anything, because she just feel like, well, Quay got a tattoo at 17, so I should be able to get a tattoo at 17. And like I told her, it's a difference. He's a boy, you're a girl. She want a nose piercing. I told her she can't get a nose piercing until she's 18. Well, my friend got a nose piercing and she only 12 and all this and that. Okay, that's something her mama chose for her. In my house, it's a difference. You get what I'm saying? So you just because such and such did this doesn't mean that you should be, be able to do it. But a lot of kids feel that way. And a lot of parents actually be like, okay, just shut them up. But no, I'm not doing it, because I feel like if you actually care for your child, you actually stand up, and say how you feel, and we're gonna stick it through or whatever. Like, I don't mind being lenient on some things, but some stuff like a tattoo or a nose piercing, no, it ain't that serious. And then, like, I, the tattoo that Quay got, he got his grandma name on him because she passed away when he was, I think, like 8 years old. So he like loved his grandma to death, and he always been writing everywhere talking about, he's always wanted to tattoo her name. So that was his birthday gift for his 17th birthday. But yeah, generational curses, it's a lot, because some people feel that, like, I love you, like, some people take it in vain. And I tell people, like, make sure you tell your kids that you love them every day, because if you don't, someone else will. And you don't want that to happen, because basically, like, love is a big word, but at the same time, it's a hard word. So they can either go out looking for love, or you can show them love. So I'd rather show them love than for them to go out looking for love and actually getting caught up in the wrong stuff. But so far, we've broken a couple of generational curses. I haven't, Quay and Quay, neither one of them has had a kid in high school, and they actually, more too, because she 15. So yeah, so basically so far so good. I'm gonna keep praying and hoping that we keep breaking. And got one with Quay graduated last year. Quay getting ready to graduate June 4th, the exact date that we graduated. So like this a milestone for me, because like I told him, I'm like, hey, you graduated the same day I graduated. So I do have like different memories and stuff like that. So they say I go overboard. So I'm an act a fool. I'm ordering stuff like crazy. I always order stuff and they'll be like, Quay really he don't care about all that stuff. Query, she, she don't, it's okay. She love for me to, surprise her with different stuff. But Quay like, Mama, you ain't gotta order all this stuff. And I'm like, boy, you just don't know. I've been ordering stuff. So they're gonna think I'm crazy when I get done, when I get my stuff. But I don't mind supporting them and letting them, know I love them. And I am very proud of them. So I'm gonna keep tooting my horn, because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know what all I've overcome just to see them succeed the way that they succeed. Because I'm amazed myself. Like, how you pray for stuff. Like I tell where like I've been writing, and I used to write in my book like every day, like different stuff that I wanted, stuff for them. And to actually be able to go back and look and read and be like, man, like I actually, wrote this 10 years ago. And, so what is it? Manifestation. Yeah, it's real.
Yeah, and I mean, you have every reason, I think, to be, really proud of your kids and yourself as well, as their parent, because of how well they're doing. Because sometimes, like when we have our children when we're young, like we don't really know who we are, right? So like we're still growing and evolving as well. So I think to have to be responsible for somebody else while you're still learning and growing who you are as a person, right? But you're still able to see how they're doing well. I think that's a great testament.
Oh yeah, and there's one thing, I always tell them, like we grew up together. Like I had my issues, but at the same time, I knew, hey, I got two other people looking up at me, so I can't let them see me. You get what I'm saying? Stumble, because if they see me stumble, then guess what? They gonna take that burden on themselves. So I never let them know. You know what I'm saying? If I had a need or was struggling with something, they never knew, because at the end of the day, it wasn't for them to know. So that's why I did what I did. Like I tell people, I'll hustle. I'll sell anything that I can sell, not drugs, but you know what I'm saying? If I can dream up something to make or do, I'm gonna do it to, make some extra money, because at the end of the day, you can make money doing just about anything legal.
So I guess, Kim, as we kind of, wrap up, like what is like something else that you think we didn't talk about that you want to share, that you think is important, that would be encouraging to somebody else, or just something else about your story that you think would be a blessing to someone?
I think that all parents need to be active in their kids' lives. I know a lot of people think once they, get out of elementary school and become middle schoolers, like, hey, I can lean back and not have to come out and support. Even if you can't make every game or every awards program, come out when when you can, and actually make sure you attend board meetings and get to know the teachers, so that way you can know what's going on, because communication is key. And if you don't actually, talk with the people within the school system and actually talk to your child and know what's going on, you'll never know what's going on. And then, when something actually happens, you're questioning, you get what I'm saying? Like, why this and why that? You should already, know what's actually going on. So you should be able to jump in and fix the issue, instead of basically it'll be a big blow up or a big mess. So like I tell people, just have your kids involved in different after school programs like the Boys and Girls Club, or playing at the rec department, like giving them something to do. And if they're doing wrong, let them know they're doing wrong. Like, don't uphold them or make it seem as if they're right. Because like I tell people, I know my kids are not, all angels. Like, they may do stuff from time to time, but they're not disrespectful, because they know I don't, play it. But if you see them doing something, let me know so I can handle. You get what I'm saying? So I can handle it. Like, don't don't let it just bypass or feel like, well, she ain't gonna do nothing or nothing like that, because you gotta stay on your kids in order for them to actually succeed. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, Kim, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it. And guys, if you have not already subscribed, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I hope that this video is a blessing, and I hope that it encourages you in some way. Thanks so much for watching.